Getting approved for a mortgage and finally taking the keys to a new home is a major personal milestone. But for the bank, handing over those keys is the start of a mandatory reporting cycle. The CSSF, Luxembourg's financial regulator, governs this through a specific directive. They require lenders to extract a highly specific set of safety metrics from every new residential mortgage they issue. Lenders have to translate a borrower's financial profile into standardized data points. Twice a year, in April and October, they package this data and send it directly to the CSSF. Standardizing these individual loans allows the regulator to check the vital signs of the entire housing market. By tracking the exact level of risk across the country, they can identify trends before an overheated market turns into a systemic crash. Calculation begins with the loan variable, or L. This is the full amount the bank agreed to lend in the contract. It is a hard number. Banks cannot reduce it on paper just because the borrower has personal guarantees or cash reserves. Then comes the property value, or V. This represents the actual real estate acting as collateral to secure that loan. When determining property value, banks look at the transaction price and an independent appraiser's valuation. They use whichever number is lower. Dividing the loan amount by that conservative property value gives us the loan-to-value ratio, or LTV. Regulators want to see this ratio exactly as it stood at the moment the loan was granted. This captures the true risk of the new credit exposure before any monthly payments are made. If a home costs 1 million euros and the bank lends 900,000, then the LTV is 90%. That single number tells the regulator exactly how much equity the buyer is putting in versus the risk the bank carries on day one. Next, the bank evaluates the borrower's capacity to pay. They must determine the annual disposable income, or I. The bank adds salary and rental income, then subtracts taxes and Social Security to find disposable income. Total debt aggregates all financial obligations, including mortgages, car loans, and consumer credit. Dividing this debt block by disposable income gives the debt-to-income ratio, or DTI. Lenders also run a narrower version of this test, dividing just the new real estate loan by the income to isolate the specific burden of the new house. These income ratios answer a crucial question. They prove whether a borrower's overall financial bandwidth is actually wide enough to handle the total weight of their liabilities. However, holding a large amount of debt on paper is very different from surviving the day-to-day reality of paying it off. To measure that, banks calculate debt service, or DS. This looks at the annual cash cost required to pay down all combined debts, adding both principal repayments and interest. They contrast this with loan service, or LS, which isolates strictly the annual payments for the new property alone. Dividing total annual debt service by the borrower's income produces the debt service to income ratio, or DSTI. Regulators require lenders to capture this snapshot exactly at origination to predict any immediate cash flow stress. DSTI acts as the ultimate reality check. It proves that the borrower's actual cash flow can sustain the ongoing pressure of their obligations without draining their accounts and triggering a default. This strict evaluation runs quietly in the background for every natural person buying a home in Luxembourg. Corporate investments and legal entities, like SOPAFARs, are intentionally excluded from this specific dataset. Those go into a separate commercial real estate report. This data is purely about regular people buying homes. Every 6 months, hundreds of these individual scorecards are aggregated and fed into the CSSF's national database. By analyzing this massive matrix, regulators can spot patterns. If they see too many borrowers carrying high loan-to-value ratios or struggling with debt service, they can identify an over-leveraged population and intervene before a few bad loans snowball into a broader economic issue. It is a quiet, continuous process. By measuring and reporting these exact vital signs, lenders and regulators work together to protect the long-term stability of the housing market.